Do 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 do. Ba 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 ba. Boop boop boop. Boo do 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 do. Ba da 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 ba 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 ba. Ba da 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 ba. Oh, are we? Is it happening?
Yeah, we're live.
I
It's
see.
really
I
into
see
this.
nothing on my end.
Well, we are
I just
live.
got the notification.
What is this desk we're sitting at, Mr. Heath? What is
This
this?
this is a freaking laser beam.
You know how big a shark would have to be in order to strap this to their head? Like a megalodon?
Yeah.
Yeah. I still see nothing on my end.
I'm checking.
Maybe it's the solar flares, man.
I'm up.
So, like, we have some weather people in our circles, you know, and they're like hitting the chats with all like the forecasts and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, what I really need to know is whether or not we're going to be permanently Amish after this.
It's there.
Yeah, okay, on your end, it's there.
But there's people that are also on saying good morning.
Well, I'm trying to grab it to share to the. Ah, there it is. Got it. Share, copy link. Yeah, they say in the biz, it's the first 30 seconds of content that gets people hooked, like makes them stay,
Yeah.
or makes them go.
Heck yeah.
It's probably why our traction is so terrible, because we never do anything worth watching the first 30 to 60 seconds. But that's how we filter out all the losers, you know?
Maybe from now on, we should just start with, like, as soon as I push live, y'all are just like.
They can't see you. Lauren just did this. Yeah, that's what we'll start with. Are they having a seizure? What is happening right now?
Stay tuned to find out.
Will they make it? Oh man. Hi, it's Refuge, whatever we call this thing on Thursday mornings. It's Thursday morning for us. Wow. Squirrel, I'm looking at our live save sign over there, which is incorrect. And I picked up all the numbers to switch it to the correct number yesterday. And I dropped all the numbers. So I picked them all up
Dang
while
it.
cursing under my breath. And then never actually changed the number. So that's great.
You have a squirrel moment?
Yeah, I had a lot of squirrel moments yesterday.
Yeah,
Did you?
I did.
I feel like it was the ionosphere being bombarded with solar plasma or something.
Plasma.
Plasma.
It cuts.
So what are we doing today, Lauren? What are we doing?
We're doing solar flare talk.
What up, Wobby?
I mean, we're doing that right now.
Oh yeah, talking about the lady who got stabbed again, who was just like sitting there at the bus stop.
Same lady got stabbed?
No.
That's
That
crazy.
lady died.
Is she a
That's what I
zombie?
thought. I was like, whoa.
No, it was another one. 3 days ago, and she died too, unfortunately. She got stabbed in the neck, and it seems like the neck thing has been pretty big.
Was it like neck or like subclavian artery, just like in the trapezius region? Like,
I wasn't there.
oh, okay.
That's good. I mean, if you were there, you probably could have fixed it.
And
Although you do terribly with blood, if we're going to be
No.
honest here.
in the moment, I would have done what I could do, and I would have done my best to also neutralize.
And then she would have scrubbed her body with bleach.
And then I would have been
afterwards.
like, please
Yeah.
douse me with bleach, Mr. Ambulance Man.
All right, so we just got done teaching for 3 days, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah.
Great class, and one of the things that a lot of people misunderstand. See, there's a lot of medical classes out there, and that's great, and they run the gamut from useless to pretty effective.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
And everything in between.
we teach TAC Med, all right, all based upon Committee on TCCC, TCCC, protocols, doctrines, recommendations, blah blah blah.
It's tactical medicine, right?
Yeah, and
Oh.
so it starts at as COTC, Committee on TCCC, and then it moves into NAEMT, National Association of Emergency Medical Technicians, TECC, Technical Emergency Casualty Care, and they even have now LE, Law Enforcement CC, blah 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 blah. Cool. So there's 3 phases in TCCC. Phase 1, which is hot zone, which means violence is still happening. That's care under fire. And the care management plan during the care under fire phase begins with return fire, right? So when we look at the SMART-G algorithm, we start at S, which is scene safety if you're civilian or professional, emergency medical services, or security if you're law enforcement or Department of Defense. It's Department of War, Department of Defense personnel. Okay, security or scene safety. We start there. And then we get into medicine. Massive hemorrhage, airway, respiratory, circulation, head injury, hypothermia, expose, evaluate, evacuate, elevate, right? And then, so we do security first, then we do medicine. And we don't do medicine until we have security. Security first, security always. And if we have security while we're doing medicine and we lose security, if the posture changes from warm zone back to hot zone, we press pause on medicine, we go back into security. Best medicine in a gunfight is bullets on bad guys.
That's
So
right.
Lauren brought up, like, you know, if I was there, I would have done my best to neutralize the threat. 100%. And the reason for that is we make more casualties. Dead bodies attract dead bodies, okay? We make more casualties if we don't neutralize the threat in the first place or remove ourselves from the threat, which is what we call getting off the X, right?
Mhm.
The X is the bad thing that happened right here, can't stay here. The statistical probability that bad stuff's gonna happen here is greater than 0. I know that because it just happened. So if this is a motor vehicle accident, we're going to get out of the roadway. If this is a shooting, we're going to move to cover. If this is meteorites falling from the sky, like maybe don't stand right here because Billy just got his head impacted by a meteorite. I don't know, right? If it's solar flares attacking the Earth, like maybe we got to go to Mars. I don't know. You see my point? We got to get off the X.
But if it's solar flares, Mars is closer.
Yeah, listen, man. I don't know if I believe any of that horse pucky anyway. I feel like my public schooling hasn't really served me well in life. I don't know. We all had to make those models with like the little foam balls. You would like color them different colors. Like Mars, it's the red planet. It's like actually, it's crazy that all the imagery that came back from NASA that built all of their stuff out of freaking popsicle sticks and Elmer's glue and Mylar blankets. All that imagery looks exactly like a certain peninsula off the coast of Greenland.
Yeah.
How curious. I don't
Imagine
know.
that.
Eh,
My kids might have told people about what shape you think the Earth is, and I was like, we don't talk about that in public.
Listen, guys, we're already weird. We don't need to give them ammunition to
Yeah.
prove it. Okay. All
I
right.
just think there's
Why-
better things to talk about and think about, like trench warfare, like this tactical chicken is currently engaged in.
Pew pew. Move
It's
to cover.
subliminal.
So there are actually 2 stabbings. One in the UK, the one was stabbed in the neck at a bus stop.
Yeah.
The other one was in Chicago at a bus stop, and a guy stabbed a woman in the chest,
So listen.
and she survived.
So there's 104 things in between your sternal knots. Everybody, unless you're driving right now, if you're driving, don't recommend. Okay, but everybody else, you're gonna pull out your knife hands. Okay, you're gonna turn them into fingies. All right, so we take our little fingies, and the first fingy, we're gonna touch our airway, our trachea right here, and we're gonna go down to the bottom of our airway into what's called the sternal notch.
Yep, right there.
You feel like there's a little cul-de-sac right there.
Right
Okay.
at the top of the sternum.
Yep, sternal notch. 8 pounds of pressure to crush an airway, by the way. It doesn't
Yeah.
feel so good. So sternal notch, that's one fingy, and then the other fingy is going to go on your belly button. All right, and about 1 inch up from your belly button is what's called the diaphragm. All right, and the diaphragm is a flap of muscle, and what the diaphragm does is when it pulls down,
It's like a big word.
it's the diaphragm. Okay, if you've
Diaphragm.
ever
Uptown
like,
phonics done him good.
yeah, back to my comments on public schooling. All right. The diaphragm. That's right, Terry. You got it.
Yeah.
Terry's learning
Good
today.
job.
You get a smiley face sticker. All right. So in between these 2 fingies right here, that whole area operates in a vacuum. It's called the pleural space. And there's actually multiple pleural spaces for the conversation today. We don't have to get that deep into it.
Yep.
But now, if we take our fingy that's at our belly button, we move down to our belt buckle. In between these 2 fingies, belt buckle, the sternal notch, there's 104 things: blood vessels, hollow organs, solid organs, etc. There's 104 different things that if you get a hole in them, it'll kill you dead.
Yep.
Okay. And a lot of that is what we refer to as non-compressible thorax hemorrhage, because there's nothing to push against to pinch the tubes of blood closed.
All the way no good.
All the way no good. This is why we wear armor plates over our heart and our lungs, etc. So the fact that somebody got stabbed in the chest and survived, that's kind of miraculous. That being said, um, stabbed in the chest depends on with what, right?
Right.
Uh,
And how long was
It
the,
was like
the
a
blade?
long ass knife. I saw a picture of him holding it. Looked like our boning knife.
so
Mm.
ribs are awesome, right? There's a reason Hava Eve was made from Adam's rib because now, and we could get super esoteric on that. That's a different show. But here's my point. The ribs protect our inward parts. Okay, so they cover up our most vital organs. They protect our inward parts. And so you know, there's means and methods for, say, slipping through the ribs with a certain length of weapon in order to have the most efficacy on one of those 104 things inside the thorax that
Right.
shouldn't get a hole in it. Here's the thing, man. Life is dangerous. But praise the Most High, not everybody's going to get stabbed at a bus stop. Not everybody is going to be engaged in warfare. I think a lot of the times what happens is we think that happens to those people over there. Okay, like 3% of the world's population wears body armor for a living, and by and large, we're thankful to those people for doing their job.
Absolutely.
Because it allows the other 97% of people that aren't law enforcement, that aren't tactical EMS units, that aren't soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, for us to live an air quote normal life. But we are stress inoculated to the fact that there's 120 fatal motor vehicle accidents a day in the United States. Right? There's somewhere in the order of thousands of critical motor vehicle accidents that occur every day in the United States. Slips, trips, and falls. I know two of our 161 lives saved were lives that were saved in the kitchen where like a knife fell off of a counter and stuck through somebody's foot.
Yep.
And there's arteries in the feet. Imagine that. So you just need bleeding control. What you really need, what the average American citizen needs, or international citizen of the world needs, you need massive hemorrhage control. You need to be able to control a critical bleed. You need airway and respiratory. And then if you're more than 60 minutes from definitive care, which can happen in Houston if you're there for an event at the Disaster Expo and you're 7.8 miles from the Expo Center and the average drive time is 75 minutes to go 7.8 miles.
Yeah.
So don't think just because I'm in a big city I got this problem licked, because you have a different problem set.
House didn't even show up to our house the other day.
Yeah, you know what? We'll go there next. If you're more than 60 minutes from definitive care, then we need to start having concern about circulation, head injury, hypothermia, everything else. But the average human in the first 60 minutes, that golden hour, we need hemorrhage control, airway, and respiratory.
Yeah.
And the sooner we can solve those problems, the better it's going to go for our patient. And our patient probably will be somebody that we love or care about. So this is why we harp on people like, yo, carry a kit. It's simple as that. Carry a kit. Put it in your purse. Put it in your pocket. Put it in your book bag. In your glove box. In your whatever. Because to Lauren's point, you called the cops the other day, and how quickly did they show up? Never.
They didn't. At all.
Stellar performance, I must say.
If I had put it out in our group that there was something going on, it would have taken all of 10 minutes, maybe, to have at least. Actually, there were people that were trying to come, but Michaela and I said no because the cops were supposed to be coming. So we turned them. We were like, "Don't bother, it's fine. The cops are coming." And then he's got home, and I was like, "Well, they should be here." And then we went to bed, and they had never come.
Well, you actually called one department, and they were like, "Not our jurisdiction. Call this other department," and then that other department never showed.
Yes.
Yep.
And this is why my trucks are a combination ambulance gun truck, cause.
But I think the main point here is like we don't walk around in fear that something is going to happen.
Yeah.
But you should at least have a plan if something does happen. And not just have a plan, but actually have the skills to be able to execute that plan. Whether that, if it requires actionable deadly force, you should have the capacity for that level of extreme violence just to be able to protect your loved ones.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other side of that, you say all the time that skills,
Wait.
they're lightweight and they go with you everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
right? They weigh nothing. But if you have it up here and you have it in here, you know what cover is, you know how to apply a tourniquet, you know how to wound pack, you know how to render aid effectively while keeping your head on a swivel to pay attention to everything else that's going on. Like, have a plan. It's you can live a very peaceful life
Mm-hmm.
if you just have a plan
Well,
and
the other
know how to
thing,
execute it.
if we zoom all the way out, like the historical anomaly is right now, right? The amount of um, conflict that has existed in human history,
Yeah,
right? We are the historical anomaly,
we really are,
and
especially this day and age.
yeah, and praise the Most High. But it's a numbers game, man. It's just a matter of time. And on the other hand, see, it's Thursday. It's going to be a great day. I'm
Oh, yeah.
trying not to get frustrated or beat anybody up or anything like that. But like yesterday, my submittal to DARPA got classified. Okay, so
Ooh.
you know what that means? That means they looked at what I had to say about the problem set that they're facing. They said, yeah, we want to have further conversation about this. We would prefer it if you didn't have further conversation about this with anybody else. Oh, well, everything that came before that's fine.
Yep.
All right.
So no more talking.
But here's the thing, right? On the one hand, it's like, would you please acquire a real tourniquet, not from Temu or Amazon, and know how to use it? And then, like, step two, all right, we got massive hemorrhage in the extremities licked. Now, what about in the junctional areas? Okay, so we're going to need some wound packing. What about airway management? Blah, blah, blah. Please come along with me on this journey as a prepared citizen for the preservation of life. Right? Carrot and stick, right? Yeah. And on the other hand, it's like, I'm also working with people whose job is literally to see beyond the horizon and forecast what's coming next, counsel on future conflict. And it's like, if right now you're like, man, I don't know if I really need a tourniquet, it's like, cool. You should dig a 6 foot deep, 6 foot long, 3 foot wide hole in your backyard for everybody in your family.
Just get it ready.
Just start.
Great plan.
It's just, I don't know how to say it more politely, because there's people who act and people who are acted upon. Simple as that. And we are the historical anomaly right now in the history of mankind. We are the historical anomaly. It's a shame, but I was talking to somebody whose job it is to wear Marpat Woodland, and he said some Marines got two jobs: to fight and to die. And historically, that's correct. I hate that because I actually love people, right? And especially jarheads, man. I've got my uncle was Sergeant Major in the Marine Corps. One of my best friends was in the Marines. Doc was in Marine. The Marines, love Marines. A huge fan of Marines. They doctrinally, at the highest levels, they're like, what do they see their job as? To fight and to die, preferably gloriously. Okay? So here's my point, and I've been saying this in every venue that I have been able to say this. Thus far, for the last 50 years, 70 years, conflict for Americans has looked like something that happens over there.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody is adequately prepared mentally for conflict here. And I believe it's going to be, based upon the data that I have, everything everywhere all at once, including here. So it's like, yeah, on the one hand, it's Thursday. It's going to be a great day. Tell the people you love that you love them. Be careful driving. Keep your head on a swivel.
Yeah.
Carry a tourniquet and a first aid kit. On the other hand, like, we're playing at like how do we reproduce parallel capability for definitive care outside of the system for when the system goes away. Right. And those are two very different tracks of thought, and both can be true at the same time. So you might want to be thinking about, like, if you're brand new to this, should I get a tourniquet? Yes. Yeah. Why? Because massive bleeding is the #1 cause of preventable death after injury. That's why. Because 75 to 90% of trauma victims, trauma meaning a critical bleed medically, it doesn't mean that I had a bad childhood or my uncle's weird. From a medical standpoint, trauma means a critical bleed. 75 to 90%, depending on which white papers you're reading, 75% of trauma victims do not survive to the hospital. They don't make it. And so we think, I called 911, the ambos showed up, they're going to be okay. No.
Yeah.
They got a 3/4 chance to 90% chance they're dead by the time they get to the hospital. So
You're
if,
fighting a time problem.
if that's somebody I love, I want to increase those odds.
Yep, 100%.
If that's me as the conduit for provision, protection, blessing into my household, I want to increase those odds. So yeah, I'm going to carry a tourniquet. They're like $30. I bet you've spent $30 on dumb shit this week. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm going to carry a
That was
tourniquet.
last week for me.
Was it last week? What
Yeah.
kind of dumb stuff did you buy last week?
Oh, 1,000 rounds, 5.56.
That's not dumb.
Suppressor mount, so I can utilize my suppressor on both my rifles.
The stairs that you're getting from across the
Yeah.
conference table / laser beam right now are excellent.
Yeah.
I can tell you the the best dumb thing that I purchased last week was in Houston at the bar in the lobby of the hotel we were staying at.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
It was
Brit-
glorious.
Brisket queso fries on top of a pizza.
Yep.
What?
Yeah.
It was so good.
So like night 1, we got brisket
Life-changing.
queso fries. Night 2, we got a pizza. Night 3, I was like, hey, I need you to do something for me. So the girl comes over, she's like, what's up? I said, I will pay you full value for both of these things. I want you to take the brisket queso fries and put them on top of a pizza. Cook the pizza, brisket queso fries, a little bit more cheese, throw it back in the oven for a few minutes, then bring it back out. Bro, you should next time, Terry.
It's so
They're
good.
already signed up for next
Oh
year.
man, the
It's so good.
onions, the
Oh
onions.
my god, the onions were
Oh,
just
they were
ugh,
amazing. That was worth it, right? That was like,
so
I
good.
thought you were going to talk about the old fashioned, because you talked about the old fashioned.
Yeah, well, you pair that with the
Yeah.
old fashioned, it was
Yeah.
like, oh,
Heath had
glorious.
lifetime old fashions #2 and 3 while we were in Houston. Yeah, and that was dumb money, right? And so here's the thing: if I'm prioritizing spending, tourniquets more important than that stuff. Now, however, I know that we're us. Like, yes, we both have tourniquets on us right now, so it's okay. Everything's okay. But my point is, like, we're Americans. We blow money on dumb stuff all the time.
Oh yeah.
Maybe have the stuff that you need first, and then when I was a young man, and I had my first company, my dad told me, he said, son, take a sheet of paper, fold it in half like this, so you got a line that goes down the center, top to bottom. He said, on the top of the left column, I want you to write needs. In the top of the right column, I want you to write wants. And I want you to sit down, go through, and write down everything that you need, then write down everything that you want. It was just itemize it, get it out there on paper. Like, okay, cool. So I did that. He said, now, I mean, I was like 17, maybe. I had my first company cutting timber. And he said, now that you've itemized your needs and you've itemized your wants, he said, you see everything in that right column want? Because you don't do anything in that right column until you've taken care of everything in the left column.
Yeah.
And I was like, roger that, tracking. And I was able to, just using that very simple method, go from one employee, me, with one pickup truck, $500, and one chainsaw, $200, to 38 employees, 14 trucks, working contracts in 3 states in about 5 years.
Yeah.
That plus the blessing of the Most High, and this is critical: blood, sweat, and tears. Literally, all 3 of those things, by prioritizing needs first and then wants. And so, I think the average citizen of the world does not understand that medical is a need.
Yep.
They put it in the want category because they have this preconceived notion that if I can get on the phone with 911 or emergency services, the problem will be handled. And that's not to take anything away from emergency services. In fact, we train those people too. And if you ask them, they'll be the first to tell you, probably not. It's probably too late by the time we get there. Okay. Um, these are needs, and as the world heads in the geopolitical direction that I see it heading in, these needs are going to become more pronounced. We're going to shift from, yeah, we were just playing at the park and Susie skinned her knee. I needed a Band-Aid, to I don't take my kids to the park anymore.
Yeah.
Because the threat profile is too great.
I don't like going to the grocery store without heat if I have the kids. No. Just in Fort Smith, I've had experiences with trafficking, guys following Hallie and I in the store.
Yeah. I've told my family the grocery store is an op. Going to get groceries is an op. And where we live is not that populous. This ain't Houston or DC or Dallas or Miami or Chicago or New York. It's not that. And that's another thing, man. So that's situational awareness. You were aware while you were in Fort Smith that was occurring, right? Most people are blissfully unaware, and that creates the opportunity for predators, two-legged predators, to then act.
Yeah.
My earlier comment, there are people who act and there are people who are acted upon. You don't want to be acted upon.
100%.
Simple as that. There's 17,000 kids a month that go missing in the United States of America. And there are people put in orders, just like you do a Walmart order. I need some mac and cheese, maybe some eggs. I mean, they put in orders for what it is that they want, and then there are people that go shopping for those things to fill those orders. My daughters are not allowed to go to the restroom by themselves. Simple as that.
We don't let our boys go either. Like I'm not.
Yep.
No one's going.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember hearing this study that they did where it was like they took criminals and they made them watch videos and pick out who they would have targeted. And there was this one really beautiful woman, like wearing a nice outfit and was walking, and nobody would choose her. And they asked her why, and they said, I don't know. Something about the way she walks. She's very confident.
Yep.
Turns out she was a cop.
Yep.
They didn't know it, but just the way she presented herself, like PJ, you get bitch face.
Yep.
I don't look friendly when we're in public.
Yep.
I'm not approachable.
I don't look friendly, period.
No, she's not even approachable by me in public.
Babe, turn it down. You're scaring me.
Chill.
That's not what it's about.
But I mean, like, even think about, like, preppers, because preppers are just as guilty of being in their own little bubble, because, they have, not all of them, but a good amount of them have some type of delusional fantasy of a dystopian society.
It's going to be my time when the world ends.
But they have no skills. They spend all their money on guns and ammo, but no food.
Or PT.
No.
I was just going to say.
no PT, right?
I'm overweight.
They have zero endurance.
In Houston,
Don't really need to go that far on this.
Yes, we put queso brisket fries on top of a pizza. That happened.
And it was glorious.
Also, PT. That's the fun thing about PT. You do enough PT, you can literally eat whatever you want.
As a matter of fact, we were talking about PT and health while we were eating.
Yes, that is correct.
Said pizza with brisket fries.
Man, I sat behind my drums yesterday for 45 minutes, my big kit, and I did so much high-speed double bass yesterday that when I got home, I was sitting in my chair and I was like, my legs are on fire. It had been a minute since I'd played to that level for that long. You think, just 45 minutes, right? I mean, just dripping sweat.
Yeah.
I have a towel behind the drum set that I will wipe the sweat out of my eyes and the sweat off my hands so that I can still hold on to sticks, and everything else is just completely just encumbered by perspiration. Between that and the cold plunge yesterday morning.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That was cool.
We had a great time baptizing some brothers. It was fantastic.
Yep. We had a lot of the students from class were in office yesterday.
Yeah.
Like half the class was in the office, hanging out. just talking before they headed home, hopped on a flight, drove home, whatever. Had a couple of students that were like, hey, well, can I get baptized? It's like, absolutely. There's a lake right up the road. Let's go. And that was super cool. The lake was not warm. However,
We had just had 3 nights of like sub like 28 degrees
yeah,
in a row.
yeah. It was good though. After 30 seconds, you don't care anymore because you can't feel anything.
Right.
So at first it's like, wow, this is really cold. And then after that, it's like nothing below my belly button exists anymore.
That's
So
like the for me, especially in the past, it was the worst part of like ATS, right?
uh-huh.
Now I got to spend 45 minutes in the water baptizing people. It's wonderful,
Yep.
incredibly thankful to do it, but now I'm gonna fight hypothermia for the night.
Man, the last men's retreat, ATS, Arming the Saints, I think I was in the water for about 75 minutes.
Yeah,
And
it was a while.
in February,
Mm-hmm.
and afterwards, I got back up to, and it was cool because during it, it was just not a factor, right? Like the spirit is just flowing. Afterwards, I get out of the water, and you're walking like you have stilts for legs. You know, nothing will work, right? You try not to stumble. And I got back up to my cabin, and it's February, and I'm a prepper, so I brought a couple of wool blankets with me. And so I got into the shower, turned the water first on warm, right? That don't want to burn my skin that I can't
Yeah.
feel, and then to hot. And I'm like nodding off in the shower. I was like, I gotta go lay down. So I crawl underneath my wool blankets, and I called my wife just to talk to my wife. Hey, this awesome thing happened. Well, apparently I passed out while I was on the phone with Harmony, and I woke up 3 hours later, and it was Pastor Joe like checking on me. He's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, we haven't seen you in hours." I'm like, "Has it been hours? Oh
Yep.
my gosh!"
Yep.
But it was cool though because like PJ and I don't get a whole lot of one-on-one time,
Yeah.
which is crazy because he's my brother, my pastor, a mentor, and a friend. Like we are friends. We enjoy doing stuff together, but he's busy, I'm busy. You know, it might be a few hours a quarter we get to spend one-on-one.
Yeah.
And so it was cool because he came and checked on me, and we spent a couple hours just, you know, drinking coffee and telling stories, and it was awesome. But, you know, I enjoy baptizing in the moment. When it's cold outside, afterwards, it's like, all right, I need a Mylar blankie, I need a wool blankie, I must retreat for a moment. So, but yeah, it was a great class, really good students.
Oh, yeah.
One of the things that we were teaching, because this was train the trainer, right? So each we broke them into 5 teams of 3, and each team we went through this iteration because we do Refuge does stress-induced scenario-based training. It was like, okay, develop a scenario. And so iteration 1, we give them 15 minutes just to brainstorm, come up with a scenario. Iteration 2, we give them 30 minutes with 10 points. I need you to address these 10 points, like how much staff is going to be required, what infrastructure do you need, blah, 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 right? All this stuff. And then another half an hour to refine. And we had cadre and T3 Train the Trainer alumni there as well, assisting each team. And then iteration 3 was run it.
Yep.
Now do it. And in the first and second iterations, I kept telling people, too complicated. That's too complicated. You got like 19 things you want somebody to do in this scenario, and that's not going to happen. Okay. And that's not your job as an instructor. We have TLOs, terminal learning objectives, and then we have human performance factors that we want to be tracking in scenario, which means with our students, we have to establish a baseline before we stress them.
Yep.
Okay. So that we have something to compare to after we stress them. But your 19 things in the scenario is too much. And then we ran the scenarios, and they were great. Like we actually, one of them was a stabbing at a bus stop.
Yep.
Hanu's team came up with that. Delta. Was Deltas? Yeah, they were Delta. Okay. I was one of the stabbing victims. It was great. David was doing like jumping, flying, slashing, stabbing stuff.
He just come
Um,
run out of nowhere from behind a trailer and whoop,
Yeah.
and he's gone again.
Yeah, and by the way, if you pack in a shoulder wound and you're wrapping with a pressure bandage, watch the airway because 8 pounds of pressure on the airway.
Yep.
In any event, one of the teams was it was Bravo. They had the bull attack.
Yeah.
That was phenomenal, right? But any of the teams, after they ran the scenario, we get everybody back in a room. We let them run their scenario, proctor their scenario with 3 sets of students, right? So everybody's collecting data. We come back into the classroom, and I asked them, I said, hey, was that chaos? They're like, that was absolute chaos. Yes, let the chaos happen, because that's where we learn. What we want to drive home are the TLOs of the scenario and monitor the human performance factors.
Yep.
That's what, as from an instructor standpoint, because it's gonna be chaos. And then like the pass fail is like, did you have security? Did you maintain security? Did you do medicine? Yes, no. Was the medicine effective? Did you evacuate? And then all the little details inside of there, all of that is opportunities to learn, opportunities to instruct, and you can have the same student run the same scenario 100 times in a row, and it'll be different 100 times. What do you got, Ren?
So this question kind of ties into a question I got before Train the Trainer, but Texas Chief Lady asked, did y'all hit them with the fire hose at Train the Trainer? And somebody else had asked me, they had gone to Tell City, like way back in the day.
Yep.
And he was like trying to ask how he should prepare, and I was like, listen, this is not responder 1, 2, and 3. This is Train the Trainer. This isn't gonna be, you're not coming in and then from the moment you get there, it's just scenarios or whatever. You're learning how to teach. It's completely different.
Let me address that. So to Texas Sheep Lady's question, did we hit them with the fire hose? No, because it was 28 degrees in the morning. And hypothermia be a real thing. A wet body, depending on which data you're reading, loses body heat 25 to 28 times faster than a dry body. That's why when it's hot, we perspirate, so we get evaporative cooling. We also get capillary action and bringing that warm blood to the surface of the skin, so that when the sweat evaporates and the breeze blows, it takes that body heat with it, and that allows us to thermoregulate. So that's for hyperthermia. When we're overheating, we sweat. When we're underheated, hypothermia, we don't want to be wet. And so, no, we didn't spray them with a hose. To the second question, Tell City alumni, which is awesome. Train the Trainer, what does that look like? And did we pick a date for the next T3?
I think we're thinking June, but we haven't picked the actual date yet. But we should probably do that today.
Cool. We probably should. So stay tuned for the next Train the Trainer dates. We're having the calendar is always a challenge, but between public trainings, private trainings, other commitments, picking dates on the calendar, it's the end of 25 right now. We're like pressed into the middle of 26 right now, finding dates for when we can do stuff. Train the Trainer is not just what to teach, it's how to teach.
Yep.
And so there's 3 major facets that a successful instructor has to have. One is subject matter expertise. You have to understand the stuff that you're teaching on multiple different levels, because depending on who it is that we're teaching, in some cases it needs to be literally explained like I'm 5, because the average American comprehends at a 3rd grade level. Yay, public schooling, okay? The average American comprehends at a 3rd grade level, which is why we say, keep the blood inside the body, make sure they can breathe.
Yep.
Because I can get way deeper than that. Let's talk about the subsymptoms of irreversible hypovolemia. Okay, why? Let's drill down on, let's do a 4-hour block on acidosis. Why? Okay, because I only have so much time with these students as well. So the average American comprehends at a 3rd grade level, and the average student only retains 40% of what they're taught. So I need to make sure they understand, keep the blood inside the body, make sure they can breathe, right? If that's all they're going to take home with them, keep the blood inside the body, make sure they can breathe. This is how we do that. We're going to apply tourniquets to the extremities. We're going to wound pack the junctional areas, non-compressible thorax hemorrhage in between our two fingies. That's why I told you to do fingies a moment ago. That, from a triage standpoint, we're going to elevate that patient immediately. If we have holes in the chest wall, we're going to put chest seals on those holes in the chest wall, and we're going to manage an airway, probably with a recovery position or an NPA, nasal pharyngeal airway. Yeah. Okay, that's like the bricks, and everything else is the paint, the window trim, the caulking around the windows.
Right.
You know, do you want brass hinges? All that. So one facet for a successful training outfit or instructor is subject matter expertise. The next is the ability to communicate that information, because it's not enough that you know it. You need to be able to get it out of your head and into your students' heads. Okay, so there's that as well, the communication aspect of it, the instructing aspect of understanding how it is that people learn. And then the third aspect of it, for most but not all students, from a T3 standpoint, is business development. You got to be able to run a business. We got to know what gross revenue is versus net profit. We have to understand operational expenses, what the insurance requirements look like for stuff like this. How do I market? How do I advertise? Blah, 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 blah. And so T3 is 3 days long. About a third or more of that is subject matter expertise. This is the curriculum. This is the medicine behind the curriculum. This is why this stuff matters. Here's how we explain it at a high level. Here's how we explain it at a low level. Here's why that matters. About a third of it is instructing, how to teach, how do people learn, experiential knowledge, pain-based anchoring, repetition, kinesthetic, human performance factors, et cetera, et cetera. And about a third of it's business development. Okay, how do you run a business? Now, some of our students, for example, like Alex, is a law enforcement officer.
Yeah.
He came. He's from, say Rocky Mountain-ish. Don't want to upset him too much, but he's in a department in the Rocky Mountains, and he came because he's going to go back to his relatively small department in the Rocky Mountains and teach all of his people there the stuff that we learned here. So as a law enforcement officer, the biz dev stuff wasn't terribly pertinent to what it is that he does, but I asked him specifically at the end of the class, we're doing Q&A, I said, hey, question, did the biz dev stuff bore you or was it a waste of your time? And he said it wasn't really applicable to my situation. He said, that being said, I've got pages of notes on it because it was fascinating.
Yeah.
I was like, that's cool.
Absolutely.
Because even that, the business aspect of it is numbers and people and psychology.
Right.
And it's still applicable regardless of what you do for work because it's numbers and people and psychology. So T3, Train the Trainer, is not a 3-day class. It's not the Responder 3, but for 3 days. And so we beat you up and spray you with the fire hose for a whole additional day. It's how you guys and girls go out there and teach the people that you want to teach, the people in your department, the people in your church, your current clients or new clients at your existing training company, your mutual assistance group, etc. And so it's those three big things: subject matter expertise, the ability to instruct, and the ability to do that profitably. And even if you're a nonprofit NGO or you're a church, mutual assistance group, whatever, there's still fixed and floating costs associated with training.
100%.
And we want to be able to quantify that. That's why in iteration 2 of the students developing scenario, 2 of those line items of the 10, one was how much is this going to cost to perform this training? And the other is, knowing this cost, what would you charge for it?
Right.
Right. And so I'm helping you avoid all of the mistakes that we've made in 5 years of training thousands and thousands of people. We've learned a lesson or two. And so I'm passing that on to you. So the whole goal is for you to leave better than you came, right? I want people to go out there and succeed. I can't train the whole world. We can't train the whole world. It's a numbers problem, but we can, big we can.
Yep.
So. And the other cool thing about Train the Trainer, and I told the students this, I said it is exceedingly rare in my life that I have 3 days back to back where I am in the same place at the same time doing the same thing, spending this much time with somebody. Just given the nature of the work that I do, not just inside a refuge, but outside of refuge as well. And so it's cool to have that much context and dwell time with a student
Yeah.
where we're all together for 3 days in a row.
Yeah.
You know?
And having it at the training center, we used to have to shut down the store every
Yep.
time we had trainings. It's so nice to have but I think we're gonna outgrow that
Oh yeah. What?
for sure.
I got plans.
Yeah.
I got plans.
Really quick, two things. First thing, somebody messaged in yesterday, saying that they were worried about buying too much gauze because of how you've mentioned that it's hard to come by stuff right now, and they didn't want to compete or take it away from first responders because they were just a civilian. So they asked, how much gauze should a civilian have? And that's
All
hard
of
to
it.
quantify.
All of it.
Like,
Get a couple wound care buckets.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I
Yep,
mean,
I'd start there.
but you got to think, nobody expects to get into a car accident. Nobody expects to get stabbed or anything like that. But these are real life
We're
situations.
cut with a chainsaw. I mean, how
Yeah,
many
I mean,
chainsaw wounds have we had?
The truth of the matter, regardless of what you do in life, accidents happen. You know, you could burn yourself, get a 3rd-degree burn. You know, moving a pot of boiling water to drain the water
Mhm.
out of the noodles in the sink, right? You know, whatever, you're making spaghetti.
That sounds oddly specific. Like you might have encountered that.
it wasn't 3rd degree, but it was.
But it could, that kind of situation could
Yeah.
easily turn into a 3rd-degree
Oh
burn,
yeah, for
right?
sure.
So like the truth of the matter is accidents happen. And once you leave the hospital, they're not going to send you with supplies to doctor yourself after they fix you up. You have to nurse yourself. You have to go to Walmart and buy
Yep.
all the gauze you need for the month until you're fully healed up and what have you.
Well, another point to that too, most of our lives saved have been civilians,
Uh-huh.
not medics. So like the idea
Right.
that like, well, I don't want to take it from the medics. No, please be prepared because the medics can't be everywhere,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Yeah, most of our lives saved, the majority, probably 2/3, 3/4 of our lives saved, were not professional, not public safety, law enforcement, EMS, fire, and not DOD, although we have saves and all that. Bye. See you later. Sick kiddos. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
So, but here's the thing with gauze, right? Wound care, whether it's a boo-boo or post-surgery or a traumatic incident, there's 4 categories, 4 food groups of wound care: gauze, tape, gloves, and disinfectants. It's those 4.
Yep.
Okay. If you put gauze and tape together, you get everything from a Band-Aid to a pressure bandage. Okay. It's just how much of do you want? We want the gloves because we want to be trying to keep, it's called BSI, body substance isolation, right? We want to keep the wound sterile, and also if there's anything funky in the wound, I don't want it on me because I don't want to get sick. Okay. Tape and gauze should be self-explanatory, as is disinfectant.
Yep.
Okay. So we want those 4 things: gauze, tape, gloves, disinfectant. Those are the 4 food groups of wound care. And depending on which wound we're treating, the wound care bucket, I came up with that concept because it's designed to treat one grievous wound for 30 days of wound care. What do I mean by grievous? Like life-threatening and or post-major surgery.
Yep.
1 wound for 30 days. So how much of that do I need to have? And then I believe it was Popular Preparedness did a whole Microsoft Excel spreadsheet comparing costs on this stuff. And what he came up with is like, it's actually not possible to acquire all this stuff yourself, put it in a bucket for less than what you could just get it from Refuge for.
Yep.
You're going to spend significantly more money trying to build one of these yourself than if you just got it. And part of that's because we have an economy of scale here, and I pay wholesale, not retail, for stuff. You all pay retail for it. So I build a little bit of headroom in so we can keep the lights on, pay the nice people, and then boom, here's a bucket full of stuff for you. God forbid you ever need it. But again, the idea is you're gonna. It's not a statistical improbability that I'm going to need gauze, tape, gloves, and disinfectant. You're
Right.
going to. And if you've ever got one of those buckets and taken the lid off and pulled all the stuff out, I don't know how many people have called the store, emailed back in, and they're like, how do I get all this stuff back in the bucket? How did you get it in here? And it's like, well, hold on, let us put you on the phone with the bucket specialist and he'll talk you through, because it's all Tetrised in there.
Yep.
It's not like when you buy a sack of potato chips and it's 60% air.
No.
It's
That thing is packed.
every cubic inch of that bucket's got stuff in it. And then, you know, the wound care bucket turned into the surgical bucket and the burn bucket and the birthing bucket and postpartum bucket.
Yep.
We got 9 bucket babies. There's 9 babies thus far that have been born using our buckets.
Yep.
And actually met a gentleman at a prepper event, Midwestern Preparedness Festival in Kansas. He's like, yeah, my last 2 babies were birthed with your buckets. I was like, that's incredible. He goes,
That's
yeah,
so awesome.
we're super crunchy. We do home births, blah, blah, blah. And like, they work. I was like, awesome. He goes, we actually have a few more of them on the shelf just in case, you know, my wife gives me the wink and or the freaking world ends. Like, we know how to have babies off grid and these things are great. And so that, even if you're planning on having a hospital birth, right? How many times have you heard like, yeah, you know, there was a snowstorm and they couldn't get to the hospital and the baby was born at home, or the baby was born on the side of the road or whatever. Like, it's 2 buckets. One's for mom, one's for baby, the birthing bucket and the postpartum bucket, right? And it's got everything you need. And I didn't come up with this because I'm pretty good at trauma medicine. This whole like pushing babies out stuff, that's not my skill set. But the midwives and the doulas in our group were like, hey, you need to develop this. Like, I don't need to develop anything. I will give you a bucket and a lid, and you make sure it'll fit in between bucket and lid. Okay. And they did, and it works. And so that's the idea behind the buckets there.
Yeah.
They work. And so how much gauze do I need? Like, short answer is all of it. And you're not taken from others. At least not yet. We haven't hit that inflection point in the supply chain yet, and I will let you guys and girls know when we do.
Yep.
I will tell you, it's a little weird again. There's, you know, we're starting to see lead times again, and have been for a few months now. Lead times from component manufacturers, names of whom you would easily recognize.
Oh yeah.
Where, you know, it used to be, I could order this stuff on Monday and have it by Thursday, and now it's like, we ordered it 3 Mondays ago, where is it? And so as a result, we're holding even more inventory than we normally do, which from a business standpoint is a challenge, because inventory velocity is one of my KPIs, key performance indicators.
Yep.
I want to turn over everything in this building as quickly as possible, because we don't have high margin in what we do, right? And so therefore we need volume.
Yep.
We're not like a lot of these other companies that are out there that have got 100% markup on their kits, air quote. One of which we encountered in Houston.
We sure did.
And I had to teach them how to apply tourniquets.
Which is, I'm a little surprised by that. You know,
Yeah.
because a medical company, especially of that stature,
Yep.
you should have employees who have the skills and capabilities to effectively utilize the things that they're selling.
Especially at a trade show.
Right.
Especially at a trade show. You're interacting with hundreds, thousands of potential clients, and you don't know how to put a tourniquet on. Tourniquet in question was a soft T, which I will admit requires a little bit more training than a cat does. Let me get my soft T out.
I think
Which,
that I
this one's
could've
ready
beat
to
that guy
retire.
And putting that on, and my job not just actually sell the
Yeah.
treatments.
So for
Yeah.
starters, he put it all the way up here.
all the way
Doesn't-
up on the delt.
It doesn't go here. It goes where the deltoid is here, and then your triceps here across the back. And right here is what we call the sweet spot, where these two meet. Anything above this wound, if the wound is above this, although still technically in the arm, we're going to treat it as wound packing. Okay? So it goes right here where the deltoid meets the back of the tricep here.
So I'm going to get this as tight as possible, and it's high on the delt. Okay?
And so what happened with this guy was he put it on up here on the delt, and then he didn't ratchet it all the way down. So see how much space is still inside of here?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't ratchet all the way down, and then he had it high on the delt. So
Oh,
then he
this
starts.
sucks on the
Then he
delt.
starts spinning. Okay, so he was on turn 5 of the windlass, and it had slipped down. And I was like, "Hey, buddy, can I show you how to use that?" He's like, yeah. I was like, because I had walked up. I was like, oh my gosh, what is that? He's like, oh, that's a tourniquet. I was like, no way. Do you know how to use that? And he's like, yeah, let me show you. I was like, okay. So he got 5 turns into the windlass and still had nothing going on. Didn't even
Yep.
have venous occlusion. And I was like, stop. Let me show you how to use that thing. And I talked him through it.
Yep.
And we get done. He's like, thanks so much, man. I was like, yeah, now let's just go ahead. Since we already got the tourniquet on, let's check our capillary refill. That's a quick test we're going to do under C for circulation at your level of provider, blah, blah, blah. And so we go through all that, and I get done. And one of the other guys that was there was VP of sales for this company. He goes, are you Bear? I said, I am. He said, what are you doing here? I said, honestly, I'm trying to figure that out myself.
Great success.
And he's like, okay. I said, I'm trying to figure out how I feel about you. And he's like, well, what do you mean? I said, well, not your company. Your company's shit. I already know how I feel about your company. I said, how do I feel about you specifically? And he said, well, you know the origin story of our company. I said, remind me. And he said, it's a family-owned business. Dad got into a car wreck 10 years ago. First responders showed up, and they didn't have any trauma kits or trauma expertise, and so the father passed. And so the family got very passionate about providing trauma kits to normal everyday people and life-saving skills, because Dad passed. I said, yeah, but if that happened today, and they had one of your kits now, Dad would have still died, because this isn't a trauma kit. And the issue that I have with your company is that you market it to people as if it is, and it is not a trauma kit.
Yeah.
And we had a little tense back and forth. And I said, he said, well, if our stuff's so bad, how come law enforcement and the DOD are buying it? I said, because procurement officers are idiots. I said, you know how many cops and soldiers that we go in and we audit their stuff,
Yep.
and they have $4 Amazon tourniquets in their kits?
Because it was cheaper.
Because it was
It
cheaper.
made more sense on the budget.
I'm talking law enforcement and DOD personnel issued fake tourniquets.
Because procurement officers don't know what they don't know.
They're looking at price.
Yep.
And and they're like, well, why would I spend $30 on a tourniquet when I can get 4 of them for 20? Because they're not the same, right? And I was like, and you market to procurement officers. We have real end users that we don't even market to. They just keep writing back into us, hey, your stuff is the best. And we saw this when we were in Moyoc.
Yep.
MARSOC guys and SEALs and SF guys and the whole nine, they're like, thank you, Refuge, for doing what you do. Oh, thank you for doing what you do. So, and I said, look, we're at a trade show, right? I flip over one of their kits and I said, look, you see this stitching right here on the back of your little molly tab? I said, see how it's bumbled like that? I said, what that shows me is that there wasn't enough tension on the bobbin in your sewing machine. And so these stitches didn't actually come together. And so when this thing's swinging back and forth on a kit, it's going to tug that thread and pull it out. And then this kit, because that's on the molly strap that this is going to attach to somebody's equipment with, is going to fall off. And then when they need it, it's not going to be there. And then that person's going to die. My sew shop would have never let that out. That would have ended up in a bin as a reject, and you brought it to a trade show to show off. Okay, there's two different. Everything you do is price point. Everything we do is quality. I'm more concerned about capability than I am costing. Acknowledging costing is always a factor, right? Everybody's got a budget, me included, but it's the capability that matters, not the cost.
Yep.
Right? We would have never let this out. And I said, for a lot of people, you are their first aid kit. But for those people, a lot of them, we are their last. They might buy from you first, But once they find us, they'll never buy from you again because we are two vastly different approaches to what a trauma first aid kit is. And I know our stuff works because real end users use it. Okay, I don't have to aggressively market to people and run a different promo code every day of the week. And we don't do that. I don't want to do that. Not interested in that. I'm interested in that board right over there in my office. Lives saved 161.
Yep.
New lives 9 bucket babies. What we do matters, and I cannot live with myself if I begin to commoditize life-saving equipment,
Yep.
which is exactly what y'all have done. So
go back to the tourniquet, right?
yeah.
This gentleman proceeded to apply the soft T over the top of his delt. Now, I have the tourniquet applied the same way he would have effectively applied the tourniquet. I have achieved arterial restriction. The problem here is you want to yank that down? I no longer have arterial restriction. It's instantaneous. I felt that,
Yep.
what do we
The
call
sweet
it?
release
The
of
sweet
death.
release of death. I immediately felt that
Because it's in the wrong spot.
because it was in the wrong place. So we teach these things for a reason. And now, actually, because of that, holy shit, it really hurts.
Before we jump off, please explain so people know what is eggnog versus cider. And we have the stickers.
All right. So on X, formerly known as Twitter, there is an ongoing war in the tactical community of eggnog versus cider.
Yearly, right?
Apparently, yes. Now, for reference, I am a dirty, filthy nogger.
You're
Just
a
so we
nogger.
all, I am pro nog, homie. Preferably with bourbon, not rum. Now, that being said, I also will not turn down a good cider. I'm from upstate New York. We have apple orchards, the Empire State, Empire apples, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah.
So, I like a good cider, preferably with a good old-fashioned fresh fried donut. It's phenomenal. And that's, you got frost on the pumpkin. It's excellent.
Ugh, that
Anyway,
sounds so good.
it is. It's the best. It's the best. Follow it up with a nice slice of Sicilian pizza. Anyway, all that being said, there's this ongoing war on X, eggnog versus cider. And so I was like, what if we actually collected some data on this? And so you can go to refugemedical.com and Lauren just dropped the link. What happens if they do that?
So
Is that a product? What is
It is an actual product. It's a morale sticker, and it's pretty freaking sweet if you ask me. There's one that's a tactical guy holding a mug with eggnog, and then the other is a tactical guy holding the apple cider. So you slap it on your stuff, and every year you can show that you're team cider, team eggnog, and it helps us see who's the official winner.
Yeah, we're collecting the data so that we can say at, the end of next month when, after the holiday season, was it Team Eggnog that won or was it Team Cider that won? So it's just a fun little thing that we got going on.
Sarah Kelly's over here talking about eggnog ice cream.
That sounds banging.
That sounds fantastic.
That sounds
Stop it,
banging.
PT. We're trying to get fit here.
Let's see.
Stop
And
it.
then I also want to let you guys and girls know, is it in April? We've got Evan back.
Yes.
So
Whole week.
Zero to Hero Radio Operator, that's a 2-day classroom setting that culminates in a field exercise, followed immediately by Tactical Radio Operator. So that first class is the prereq for the second class. So Tactical Radio Operator is 2 days of scenario-based radio training, comms training, using terrain masking and setting your wattage appropriately on your radio, blah, 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 that we'll be teaching at the mountain, followed by Responder 3, 2 days of TACMED training that we'll be teaching at the mountain.
Yep.
So it's 6 days in a row, Sunday through Friday. Recommend you guys come. It's going to be a blast. Great training. It's, highly recommend. Yes?
Defender 1 is actually in February as well.
Yes.
We still have some spots for Defender
Defender 1 is it's a 1-day class on church security, SMARCH-E algorithm, and active shooter mitigation, stress-induced scenario-based training using blue guns.
Yep.
It's a good class. This is the first time that class will be available publicly. Given everything that's been happening in the world here lately, I had a conviction to go ahead and make that class available public. We typically train that private. We have one coming up here for a local church in a few days. But it's a great class if you're somebody who carries a weapon to church, whether you're on a formal or informal security team at church. This is the class for you. It's specifically for houses of worship and parishioners inside of houses of worship, teaching tactical medicine, faith-based, obviously. And then how do we mitigate threats inside of a house of worship? What do we need to be looking for?
Right.
So that's February the 8th, I believe, in vicinity of Spiro, Oklahoma here. And I know a lot of people have been asking questions like, Barry, when are you coming to Insert City here? Man, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I know that we're here. And praise the Father, the demand on our time, especially from a training aspect, continues to grow. So we do private engagements. If you want us to come train your church, your company, your department, your agency, your mutual assistance group, whatever, just reach out to us. Just shoot us an email, admin@refugemedical.com, or call the store and we can have that conversation. But even as we grow the training cadre, the demands on our time continues to grow as well. So when's the next publicly available class not in Oklahoma? I wouldn't hold your breath. And we had students from South Africa, Ecuador, Washington State, New England, Florida, Texas, Utah, Tennessee, and elsewhere in this last class that we just got done teaching.
Yeah.
So people are literally traveling the globe to come to little old Spiro, Oklahoma to come train and learn. Feather in our
So
cap.
don't give us that. It's 8 hours away. I don't want to drive. Cool.
We had a dude just travel from South Africa.
Yeah, great dude. What's up, Bobby? Great guy.
Awesome.
Yep. Jeremy came from Ecuador
Right.
and stayed for 3 classes while he was here.
Yep.
Which is awesome. So it can be done. And if you're not at that level yet, I understand. We have the $99 webinar on the store. You can watch that webinar. We also have 4 hours of free training on the training tab at refugemedical.com. There's 8 videos on SMARCH-E there. They're about 30 minutes long each that'll walk you through all of that stuff. It's me sitting at a picnic table with a first aid kit talking you through all this stuff.
Yep.
So if that's the commitment that you can make, good, watch that. Carry a freaking first aid kit, y'all. The what? You choose whatever you want, homegirl.
Okay.
Any day now.
Oh.
Buffering.
Hi. Let me talk into your chest. It's me, Lauren. Hi. I've been working super duper hard on a very exciting project that will be launching very, very soon. And you're going to want to be a part of it. And it's going to be amazing. And that's all I'm going to say. But just keep your eyes out. It is going to be continued education. Nothing like you have seen. It's going to be awesome. So,
Yeah.
elusive.
We also have another thing that we're doing.
What's the other thing? I probably know, but I forgot.
I
ADHD.
asked you for a sample for it.
We've done so many things in the last 24 hours.
About that big. It's made of gold.
Oh,
Oh,
that one. Sorry.
that
was-
one. It wasn't.
We also have another thing that is so limited that I can't say how many they're going to be.
I'll say this: we'll be flying instructors in from all over the world for this one.
But there's only X amount of people who will have access to this. So if you get, it's invite only. So if you get the invitation for this, just know there's only so many spots. And can I say? I'll say one thing. Sniper school. Okay, bye.
From an actual sniper? Yes. Targets at the 1 mile? Yes.
Absolutely.
Yep. Awesome. That's the show. We appreciate y'all. Hey, do us a favor. Share the show with somebody you love. And the way that Refuge continues to stay in business and grow is people like y'all. So please evangelize for us. There are many, many first aid kits on planet Earth. There are very few that are what we do. And I'm very thankful for you boys and girls. We've gone from my barn to 4 continents and 161 lives saved to date in 5 years because of y'all. So thank you for supporting what we do. Literally could not do it without you. And I appreciate the commitment to quality and preservation of life over price point bull crap. And yeah, in the meanwhile, if there's anything we can do for you, call the store, shoot us an email, use the chat function on the website. It's not robots, it's real people. And we look forward to continuing to serve y'all. So stay safe out there, carry a freaking first aid kit.